Hi, I'm Fletcher Rhoden, and my pet peeve for today is tech support lines. Pet Peeves is brought to you by my website, FletcherRhoden.com. That's where you can find links, such as the one to my Amazon.com author page. That's where you can buy my books in paperback or for Kindle, and in many cases in audiobook format. There's also a link at my website to my Spotify artist page. That's where you can download my records. In 2024, last year, I had a 4-album series called Quadrilogy. And this year, I've got a brand new pop album called I'm Possible. Now, you can download those at Spotify or at any download site. Wherever you'd like to download your favorite music, you can download mine. But at my website, you can find music that you can't get anywhere else, and it's free. So check that out. Okay. All right. So pet peeves. The thing about pet peeves is we all have them. We all live in a shared culture, and so maybe my pet peeves are your pet peeves. Maybe just hearing me say them will help to alleviate the anxiety you feel. You know, these things have to be expressed. Get them off your chest. Well, maybe I can get them off your chest for you. Or maybe you'll realize how silly these pet peeves really are. Or maybe you never would have given it any thought, and now you're going to start to agree. Yeah, that bothers me too. Curmudgeons unite. Or you may just give up on the idea of having pet peeves altogether. I hope so. Let it be a better world. Let peace begin on earth. And let it begin with you. Because I've got pet peeves. Okay, one of my biggest ones. This is for me like human personal kryptonite. Tech support lines. When I know I have to call a tech support line, I already have a headache. And they know it. Tech support lines are, in my experience, ineffective, frustrating, designed to be that way. Okay? They're not there to help you. They're not. I've known people who work at tech support lines. I've known people. And this person told me in particular, had nothing but disdain for the people who called, laughed at them, ridiculed them, had the answers that the people needed, and just didn't give it to them for fun. You know why? Because you can never get fired from a tech support line. No one ever knows who you are. No one ever calls back and says, that guy Sean was very rude to me and he didn't tell me the proper thing. And if they do that, no one ever looks into it. You never get fired from that job. Tech support. You don't. You don't. You can say anything. Do just about anything. You won't get fired. And they know that. Now their job, of course, is to provide answers. But these are people for whom their jobs are very unsatisfying. It might be unsatisfying for you, for example, to be working for, let's say, Samsung and constantly be getting calls from people like me complaining that the phone on their battery only lasted a few years. Only lasted 3 years before it wouldn't hold a charge for more than 5 minutes, rendering it useless as a phone, for which I paid $500 only a few years before. Samsung. Now, their job, the job at a tech support line is not to help you. It's not to get you a new battery and to get you on your way to being a happy Samsung customer. Their job is to get you off the phone without any expense. And they have ways in which to do it. These are scripted. And you know they're scripted, not only because I'm telling you that they are, but because if you've ever been on a tech call to one company more than once, you know that you hear the same lines every time. And basically, they're the same lines that every company says. Well, we're sorry, but we have our policy, and our policy is ... Or, they have their protocols. Like with Samsung, here's what they wanted me to do with my battery. I said, I want a new battery for free. And they said, well, here are your choices. You can walk it into a store and pay $50 or $100 for a new battery. Or you can send it in to us, and we'll put a new battery in and send it back. Now, why is it that sending it in is free and walking it in costs money? I don't know. Why? Because if you send it in, they're not going to do anything. And no one can be without a phone for 10 days. You know how long it takes to put your phone in a box, mail it off, wait for it to get there, wait for it to be opened, processed, tested, possibly repaired, maybe not repaired, put back into a box, mailed back to you. That's 10 days without a phone. I don't know anybody who can last 10 days without a phone. So when Samsung tells you this, they know no one's going to do that. They know it's impossible that anyone's going to put their phone, a computer with all their bank numbers, all their personal contact information, and send it into the netherverse, hoping that it comes back repaired 10 days later. And if it doesn't, they don't have a phone to call with. Because most people only have that one phone. Most people don't have landlines anymore. So Samsung has a beautiful method by which they can sell you deliberately defective material which will not last as long as it's supposed to, and then they have ways in which they can refuse your requests for satisfaction. It's scripted. It's all planned out. No one is innovating this. No one is making it up as they go. They're trained to do this. It's a trained thing. Also, if your software isn't in the right year, oh, we can't help you. That's a year too late. We only service from the year 2023. Well, my Windows is from 2022. Well, that's too late. We don't have to buy a new product every year to get the warranty? Ridiculous. They have the answers. They could help you, but they don't. Why don't they? Well, first of all, they're told not to, A, to reduce the expense to the company, which that does reduce the expense a lot, and B, because they'd rather just have you buy a new one, which you will do, than fix the old. And they just don't want to. The guy there who's talking to you, he could look around and say, all right, let me tell you. Control Shift. Okay? One time I was looking for, I couldn't find a certain very basic function in a Word or Photoshop. So I called up Photoshop saying I can't find that very simple thing. And he's like, well, your Photoshop is 1 year too late. And I can't help you. And we went around, I was like, dude, have a heart, be a man, help me out. It's your job to help me out. Yeah, but I can't because your thing is a year too late. So I said, oh, okay. I just realized that I misread it. And it's actually from this year. And the guy says, all right, the icon is there on your left, just above the icon that looks like this. And I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. He had the information. He was told not to give it. He was told not to share it. Perhaps so that I could buy the warranted service plan, wherein I could get unlimited support for, let's say, $300 a year, which the laptop only costs $300. So, come on. What are you talking about? Pro Tools does it. They're terrible. Pro Tools is the most insecure, delicate, unstable product I've worked with recently. And they want you to pay $40 every service call. $40. Or you can apply to like a yearly thing for like $400. But the whole thing only costs $400. So they want you to pay, they expect you to call 10 times a year. In other words, for problems. They devised the thing so that it'll be fragile and insecure and unstable and constantly need attention. So that you'll constantly have to call and give them $40. It's a rook. It's a crook. It's a scheme. It's a scam. Tech support lines are a scheme and a scam. And the people who work at them are frustrated, small-minded people who take out their frustrations on their customers. Because their lives are miserable and all they do is go home and play Xbox. Okay? So they have no lives. They have no personal satisfaction. All they can do is gain satisfaction by frustrating the people who call them for help and who rely on them for help. And then you know what they do? They go to after the shift, they all go together to Taco Bell or to wherever the beer is cheapest, and they share stories. I had one guy today tell me he was going to call the FBI. Oh, yeah. I had 3 FBI threats yesterday. I had one guy say that, how can I, he asked me if I could kiss my wife with the mouth that I used to lie to him. Yeah, like I've got a wife. they laugh at us. When you call them, you're spending hours of your time sometimes. Hours. Going from one person who doesn't know to another person who doesn't know to another person who doesn't know. Then you get cut off. But hey, I've been at this for an hour. I'm calling back. I'm getting an answer. Then maybe another long wait. Then another long talk with a person who doesn't know, who doesn't have an answer, or whose answers are entirely different than the last person's. Then you get cut off again. So you call back. This time, after 2 hours, I'm plenty peaked. And the person's like, hey, calm down. No, I'm not going to be calm. Because here's something else. The people at the tech support lines get paid. They get paid for every minute they're there jerking you off. They get paid for that. You don't get the happy ending, but they get paid to jerk you off. Isn't that funny? But you, meanwhile, are paying. If you're like me, a freelancer, every minute you spend on the phone is time you could be spent working, earning money. But it's time you're not earning, you're losing. 3 hours on a tech support line is hemorrhaging money to a freelancer like me. But they get paid to do it. I lose money for doing it. So they can do it for 60, 90 minutes. And then say, please hold, put me on hold, go watch an episode of Seinfeld, and then just disconnect the call. And laugh about it. And never get fired. And then they get to go home and say son or daughter, if I have one, which they don't. Or husband or wife or girlfriend or boyfriend. Probably they don't have any of those either. But they can go home to their cat. Or their pet mantis shrimp. And say, hey Bluto, did I tell you what happened today? If I ever have a wife and I ever have kids, I'm going to encourage them to do this job too. Because they get to sit around on their butt, lying to people all day, creating and accomplishing basically nothing while making a fairly good dollar doing it. I'm proud of myself. I work for a tech support line. Oh, do you want to eat a little shrimp, my crustacean friend? I love you. All right, well, you people at the tech support lines, I don't love you. And the whole concept is one of my pet peeves. I hate it. What about you? My guess is nobody likes that. Now, some of you out there may be tech support workers, and you may say, well, not me. I'm the good guy. I'm the one who always helps. I'm the one who always gives the answers. I have sympathy and empathy for the people who call me in distress. I can tell they're at their wits' end after 3 years of getting 3 hours of getting the runaround because they can't do what they have to do to make a living. If you can't get your software to work and you're a freelancer who uses that software, then you can't get to work. So maybe you're one of the good ones out there. Well, thank you. Good for you. Be proud, be happy, be a person. But if you're one of those people who's watching YouTube right now laughing at me, and I know you're out there, then you are actually one of my pet peeves. Not just the business you're in, not just the things you do, not just the behavior you exhibit, but the people you are. Keep laughing. Keep laughing. Keep laughing. And keep watching Pet Peeves. I'm here every other week with this show. Mondays at noon right here on this YouTube channel. It alternates with my other show, Quotes and Quips, which is on alternating Mondays at noon here on this YouTube channel. You can watch 2024 reruns of Quotes and Quips. They're right here on this YouTube channel. And you can watch the 2023 show called Tracking the Lone Wolf, which is on another YouTube channel called Tracking the Lone Wolf. It's based on my book, Tracking the Lone Wolf, The Sigma at Work, at Home, and at Play. You can get that book and all my books in the various formats at Amazon.com. Use my website for the link. You can also use that link to buy my new book, or my new pop album, I'm Possible. You can also download that anywhere you like to download your favorite music. In the meantime, keep tuning in for more content. Until then, bye, Mary.